Hello, everyone, and welcome to our journey today, where we'll discover how understanding the true nature of abundance and practicing mindful financial habits can transform your relationship with money forever. It's a story that will remind us that financial peace comes not from the amount we possess, but from the wisdom we cultivate about resources and our deep understanding of what truly matters in life. Along the way, we'll explore powerful concepts that can shift your perspective and help you build lasting financial confidence. So stay with us as we unfold this transformative tale that might just change how you think about money for the rest of your life. In a bustling city where the cost of living seemed to climb higher each month, there lived a woman named Elena who worked as a marketing coordinator at a mid-sized company. Elena was a hard-working professional who took pride in her career, but despite her steady income, she found herself constantly stressed about money. Every month felt like a challenge as she struggled to balance her expenses with her earnings, and she often lay awake at night wondering if she would ever feel financially secure. Elena had grown up in a household where money was always tight. Her parents worked multiple jobs just to make ends meet, and conversations about finances were often filled with anxiety and worry. This early exposure to financial stress had deeply influenced Elena's relationship with money. Even though she now earned more than her parents ever had, she still carried the same fears and anxieties about not having enough. One evening, after receiving an unexpectedly high utility bill, Elena felt overwhelmed and decided to visit her grandmother, Sofia, who lived in a modest apartment across town. Sofia was known throughout the family for her calm demeanor and practical wisdom. Despite having lived through economic hardships and raising 5 children on a limited budget, she always seemed content and never appeared to worry about money. Elena knocked on her grandmother's door, feeling frustrated and defeated. When Sofia opened the door, she immediately noticed her granddaughter's troubled expression and invited her in for tea. As they sat in the small but cozy living room, Elena poured out her concerns about bills, debt, and her constant fear of not having enough money. Sofia listened patiently, without interrupting, allowing Elena to express all her worries and frustrations. After Elena finished speaking, Sofia smiled gently and said, "My dear, I can see that money has become a source of great anxiety for you. But I want to share with you 3 important lessons that transformed my own relationship with money. These lessons didn't come from books or experts, but from real-life experiences that taught me the difference between financial security and financial peace." Elena, who had always respected her grandmother's wisdom, was curious but skeptical. How could someone who had never been wealthy teach her about money management? Sofia continued by saying, "For the first lesson, I want you to track every penny you spend for 1 week, but not in the way you might think. Instead of just recording amounts, I want you to write down how you felt before, during, and after each purchase." Elena was puzzled by this unusual request, but agreed to try. The following week, Elena diligently recorded not just her expenses, but also her emotions. She noticed that she often made purchases when she felt stressed, anxious, or bored. She discovered that buying coffee when she was overwhelmed at work or purchasing clothes when she felt inadequate about her appearance were patterns she had never recognized before. When Elena returned to her grandmother the following week, she shared her discoveries. Sofia nodded knowingly and explained, "This is the first lesson, Elena. Money problems are often not about the money itself, but about our emotions and the stories we tell ourselves about what we need to feel secure. When you understand your emotional triggers, you can begin to separate your feelings from your financial decisions." Elena felt a wave of understanding wash over her, but was eager to learn more. For the second lesson, Sofia said, I want you to spend 1 week living as if you had exactly enough money for everything you truly needed, but not a penny more. Elena was concerned about this challenge, but Sofia assured her that she wouldn't ask her to deprive herself of necessities. Instead, she wanted Elena to distinguish between wants and needs. Elena spent the week questioning every potential purchase, asking herself whether each item was truly necessary for her well-being and happiness. During this week, she discovered that many of her regular expenses were driven by habit rather than necessity. She realized that she had been spending money on things that provided temporary satisfaction, but didn't contribute to her long-term happiness or security. She found herself appreciating simple pleasures like cooking at home, reading books she already owned, and spending time in nature, all of which cost nothing but brought her genuine joy. When Elena reported back to Sofia, she was amazed by how much money she had saved and how little she had missed the things she didn't buy. Sofia smiled and said, "This is the second lesson, Elena. Abundance isn't about having more money. It's about recognizing that you already have enough for what truly matters. When you align your spending with your values rather than your impulses, you discover a sense of richness that no amount of money can buy." Elena felt excited about this revelation, but wondered about the third lesson. Sofia paused thoughtfully before explaining the final lesson. For this last challenge, I want you to give away something of value every day for a week. It doesn't have to be money. It could be your time, your skills, your attention, or even something you own. Elena was surprised by this request, especially since she had been worried about not having enough for herself. Sofia explained that this lesson would teach her the most important truth about money and abundance. Throughout the week, Elena found small ways to give. She helped a neighbor with grocery shopping, taught a coworker a skill she had mastered, donated clothes she no longer wore, and spent extra time listening to a friend who was going through a difficult time. She also gave small amounts of money to causes she cared about and left generous tips for service workers who had brightened her day. At the end of the week, Elena returned to Sofia with a completely different energy. She seemed lighter, more confident, and genuinely happier. Sofia asked her to describe what she had learned from this final challenge. Elena explained that giving had made her realize how much she actually had to offer and how interconnected she was with others around her. She had discovered that her value wasn't measured by what she accumulated, but by what she contributed and how she made others feel. Sofia nodded with satisfaction and said, "This is the third and most important lesson, Elena. When you operate from a mindset of abundance rather than scarcity, you attract more abundance into your life. Giving doesn't make you poorer, it makes you richer because it connects you to the flow of abundance that surrounds us all. People who understand this principle never worry about money because they know they are part of something larger than themselves." Elena felt tears of relief and gratitude welling up in her eyes as she finally understood what her grandmother had been teaching her. Sofia continued with her final words of wisdom. "Elena, these 3 lessons work together. Your emotions inform your choices, your values guide your decisions, and your generosity connects you to abundance. When you master these principles, you'll find that money becomes a tool for creating the life you want, rather than a source of stress and worry. Remember that financial peace comes not from having a certain amount of money, but from understanding your relationship with money and aligning that relationship with your deepest values and highest aspirations." Elena thanked her grandmother for this life-changing wisdom and promised to practice these lessons every day. She left Sofia's apartment feeling lighter than she had in years, finally understanding that her worth wasn't measured by her bank account, but by the wisdom she cultivated and the love she shared with others. From that day forward, Elena approached money with confidence and clarity, knowing that she had everything she needed to create a life of abundance and peace. In the months that followed, Elena continued to practice these 3 lessons. She found that her relationship with money transformed completely. She no longer lay awake at night worrying about bills. Instead, she felt confident in her ability to make wise financial decisions that aligned with her values. She discovered that when she operated from abundance rather than scarcity, opportunities seemed to appear more frequently, and her overall satisfaction with life increased dramatically. Elena also began sharing these lessons with friends and family members who struggled with similar financial anxieties. She found that teaching others what she had learned deepened her own understanding and created a community of people who supported each other in developing healthier relationships with money. She realized that Sofia's wisdom was not just about personal transformation, but about creating ripple effects that could benefit everyone around her. As Elena reflected on her journey, she understood that the 3 lessons had taught her something profound about life itself. She learned that security comes not from external circumstances, but from internal wisdom. That abundance is a state of mind rather than a bank balance. And that true wealth is measured by the quality of our relationships and the positive impact we have on others. She finally felt free from the money worries that had plagued her for so long, and excited about the possibilities that lay ahead when she approached life from a place of abundance rather than fear.